Yo, the KingR here. I'm excited because it's that time of the year again, the return of the NFL and the regular season. And I'm just here to give my thoughts, opinions, maybe a few predictions on what might happen in the NFL. Go over some of the new rule changes, streaming services and whatever else in between. So, where to begin? I mean, this is what? Let me see now. The 105th season of the NFL. I mean, boy, in 105 years already for the NFL. I mean, my Packers are 106 years old, but who's counting? Um, lots and lots of things have happened this past off season between the Super Bowl in Vegas where the Kansas City Chiefs won back-to-back Super Bowls for the first time. We've had back-to-back champions since the early 2000s, when New England did it. And the question becomes, will Kansas City become the first team to three-peat in the Super Bowl era? I mean, it's very possible, but it's not going to be easy. Now, depending on who you are and how far you have a stick up your, you know what, there's only been one team that has three-peat before in the NFL, when it comes to winning championships, and that's the Green Bay Packers. Not once, but twice. Back in the late 20s, early 30s, when championships were decided by regular season best record. And then mid 60s under Vince Lombardi, when they were introducing the Super Bowl and just prior to the merger. But I digress. I mean, I will say I do not believe the Kansas City Chiefs will three-peat. I'll just throw that out right now. I will get to my Super Bowl predictions later on. But where to begin? Oh, on what to talk about this upcoming season. I mean, do I want to start with my thoughts on the streaming service or the new rules? Let's start with the new rules. And the big one, if I can find it. I think I passed it here. Some of the new rules that took place this offseason have been approved, and this one I completely forgot. I know it was a big topic when it was voted on, and that's the hip drop tackle. Any hip drop tackles will be result in a personal foul and a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down, and the players, they were against this, and all the rules are approved by the owners, and no, I don't think the union, the players have really any choice in the matter. I mean, they can say what they will and say what they want, and they were all against the approval of this, and I don't blame it. I mean, we had some key injuries last season because of the hip drop tackle. I think, was it Mark Andrews was one of them, and so forth. And it's just, to be honest, it's more of just bad luck. It's not intentional. It's just happens. So we'll see. And I don't think I really heard too many issues this preseason about the hip drop tackle penalty, or if there were any. So we'll see how that turns out. What's this? Coaches will receive a third challenge if either of the first two challenges are upheld. Previously, both challenges need to be successful. Oh! So that, okay, so if a coach will get a third challenge if either of their challenges one is accepted. I don't know if I care for that. I like you have to be successful in your first two to get a third one. Major fouls committed by offense will be enforced if both teams commit a foul on a play resulting in a change of possession. Previously, major fouls committed by offense were ignored in the situation. Okay, didn't know about that one. Not sure, but obviously the other big rule change that took place is the kickoff. You know, for years there was debate for safety and so forth if they should get rid of the kickoff or other rules to improve kickoff because one, the NFL, the owners, they want more action, but yet they want safety. So they have moved the ball back and forth between the 30 and 35-yard line. Made different forms of wedges illegal on kickoffs. You can't overload either side for kickoffs and on onside kicks and blah blah yak yak. So this year, the kickoff rule change is such. The following rule change for the kickoff will be in place for this season on a 1-year trial basis. So it's guaranteed to happen this year. We'll see if it stays and so forth. Okay, well the kickoff will be take from the kicking team's 35. All players from the kicking team except the kicker must line on the receiving team's 40-yard line. The receiving team must have at least 9 players in the setup zone area between the 35 and 30 of their own, and may have a maximum of 2 returners. Except for the kicker, the returners, no players on either team may move until the ball touches either the ground or the receiving team player. Kicker must also not cross midfield until those other players are allowed to move. Oh boy. The kick must land in the landing zone between the 20-yard line and the end of the 20-yard line and the end zone. If it lands short of the 20-yard line, it will be treated like a kickoff out of bounds, and the receiving team then will get the ball at the 40-yard line. If it lands short of the 20, okay, so if it lands at 21, oh boy, if the kick sails into or beyond the zone, the end zone for a touchback, the receiving team will get the ball at the 30. If the ball bounces into the end zone for a touchback, the receiving team will get the ball at the 20. Okay, so if it goes through the end zone, you get the ball at the 30. If the ball rolls into the end zone, the team will get it at the 20. Okay. No fair catch or signals is allowed. Officials will blow the play dead. During the fourth quarter, this is the part I hate, trailing team choose to attempt an onside kick. Prior to this rule change, must inform if an onside kick goes beyond the receiving team's setup zone untouched. The receiving team will gain possession at the kicking team's 20-yard line. That's just more confusing. So basically, anyone that watched the XFL a few years ago, this is how they had it. A similar way, and the NFL is adopting it for 1 year and 1 year trial basis, and to be honest, I don't see it lasting more than a year. Just like how they had pass interference was a challengeable call, 1 year trial basis, it only lasted 1 year. I don't see it. I don't know. I love no more surprise onside kicks. I love surprise onside kicks. But this rule is just stupid. They want more action on the return because there's too many kickoffs returned for or were touchbacks. But yet they want safety and so forth. So this is just all counterproductive and big ol' headache. people are going to be confused and like, what's going on, and so forth. So, yeah, we'll see how that all turns out. Other rule changes. Let's see. Ruling of a passer down by contact or out of bounds before throwing a pass were made reviewable. Okay. Replay reviews when there is a clear and obvious visual evidence the game clock expired before the snap or authorized. And then the trade deadline was moved from Tuesday following week 8 to the Tuesday following week 9. Okay. Whatever. Anyways. Ugh. Yeah, so the two big rule changes that we'll see the big impact is the hip drop tackle and the kickoff. And, we'll see how that coach's challenge, too. That one I didn't know or realize about. What was it, last year? Last year they introduced new overtime rules and so forth, but no new rules about overtime. I'm not going to get in that unless things get brought up later on. So, now the other big thing, I don't know if it's a big thing to talk about, is the streaming. Because there's now 17 games, 18 weeks, and the NFL just wants to take over everything. We have games on Thursday. We have several games on Friday this year. Even Wednesday, because you know why? What's on that Wednesday? Christmas. The NFL wants to get their foothold on Christmas because the last few years, Christmas landed on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday. All days of the week that the NFL plays on. And here we go, Wednesday. It's like middle of the season or middle of the week, so they can get around that. But I do believe the teams that play on Christmas this year play on a Saturday prior, so there is some fluctuation. But the whole playing on Christmas is now interfering because that's for the NBA. But we all know NFL's king. So some key games this year. Obviously, the NFL kicks off September 5th, Thursday. Baltimore taking on defending champions Kansas City. The return of the international series. Before we're talking about I'm not a big fan of the international series, especially during the regular season. Yeah, sure, they expand the regular season by a game for everybody, so they can give up and lose a home game once a year, so on and so forth. But this is why you had NFL Europe to some extent, to get that foothold in Europe. But ever since Goodell took over, Goodell got rid of NFL Europe because he didn't want second-rate players representing the NFL. He wanted the main stars. He wanted the big names to go and play meaningful games overseas. But as fans in America, we don't want to lose any home games. We don't want to, I will say I don't mind starting games at 9 a.m. Central Time or 8 o'clock because of where they are. But like we'll dive into just a little bit, there's also, the political realm and, where are we playing these international games and what are their customs and is it really safe to go? I don't know. I mean, for years they played in London. They've had a few games in Mexico. Now they've branched off into Germany. They want to play games in Spain, I think. Now we have our first game in South America, and tensions are just fun. And rumors leading up to that game have been very interesting, might I say. So, international games this year. Like I said, we're going to have, season starts Thursday, September 5th. Game 2 of the NFL regular season is going to be in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Friday, September 6th. Green Bay versus Philadelphia. And there's already, like I said, there's issues going on down there, and it's questionable why is the NFL doing it? But we all know why. Money. Anyways, we have 3 games that are going to be taking place in London. New York Jets versus Minnesota. That will be Sunday, October 6th. We have Jacksonville versus Chicago. That's Sunday, October 13th. And last but not least, New England versus Jacksonville. Yet again, 2 weeks in a row. Jacksonville loves those international series, but that's because of their owner. Sunday, October 20th. Okay. And then the 5th international game will be the New York Giants versus Carolina in Munich, Germany, November 10th. So we have 3 weeks in a row, the 6th, 13th, and 20th in mid-October international series, and then early November. So, I mean, like I said before, I love that the NFL wants to expand worldwide, get American football out there, and there's fans everywhere. And yeah, you won't deliver, so they have the opportunity to see the games and stuff. But to some extent, why are we bringing it's here or there. We should bring the game to them, but yet they should come here to watch the game. It's yeah. As usual, we have Thanksgiving games. Thanksgiving is Thursday, November 20th this year. We have Chicago at Detroit, and the New York Giants at Dallas. Because Dallas and Detroit, for years, since the 60s, 30s, 40s, well, not Dallas, has been playing on Thanksgiving forever. And then for the past, I don't think it's been 20 years now. Close to it, though. We've had a primetime game on Thanksgiving, and this year we have Miami at Green Bay. But then for the second year in a row, we have our Black Friday game, where we have Las Vegas taking on Kansas City. And then, like I said before, we have Christmas Day, which is on Wednesday. Christmas lands on Wednesday this year, and we got I think we got a doubleheader, and or is it just the one? No, we got a doubleheader. Yeah, Kansas City at Pittsburgh and Baltimore at Houston. And that game, no, I didn't mention it before. Those 2 games are exclusively on Netflix. I forgot to mention that the Green Bay Philadelphia game in Sao Paulo, Brazil, is exclusively on Peacock. Now, last year we had exclusive game. We had one exclusive game on a wild card game on Peacock, and I think they had. I forget if they had a game or not, but here we go now. The whole streaming service and where to watch, how to watch, all the NFL games. Back in the day, you had 3 channels. Started with 2, then they introduced Monday Night Football, so that became 3. ABC, CBS, and NBC. And your local markets showed. I don't know when. That's the one thing I love about the NFL. Unless due to blackout restrictions, the team's local market, doesn't matter what service, what channel, what network, they have to air the game for the local make it public for the local market, unless for blackout restrictions, like for some reason the game was not a sellout, they didn't sell all the tickets, therefore you can't watch it because you had the opportunity to go to the game, which I'm not getting into the whole blackout situation. So for me, who didn't grow up with cable, And luckily in the Green Bay market, you know, when they played on ESPN or such, I got to watch it no matter what because the local affiliate aired it and got to watch my games no matter what. But there's other areas in the state that don't, and but I digress. Anyways, so is this year 3 now? Yes, I think this is year 3 now. That Thursday night, Amazon Prime, they bought the streaming rights for, was it a 10-year deal? I forget now. For all Thursday night games. I'm not a big fan about that because you need to be a Prime membership. Okay, Prime membership. Last I checked is like $100 to $200 a year. I think. I might be way out of proportion, but there's 16 games right there. That 16 or 17 games right there. If you don't have Prime, you can't watch. Okay, now Peacock, NBC's streaming service, they got the rights to several games. Like I said, the first international game is exclusively on Peacock. So if you don't have Peacock, you can't watch Green Bay versus Philly unless you're in the Philadelphia market or the Green Bay / Milwaukee market. So money, money, money. Netflix, like I said, they got the rights to the next few Christmas Day games. I think some of the international games, ESPN Plus. And just they're making this more difficult than easy to find your team, watch your games, so forth. I mean, last year, Sunday Ticket, what was DirecTV exclusive, went up for sale, and YouTube TV bought it. And I mean, that was the thing. You need, if you want to watch your team or any game, you got Sunday Ticket from DirecTV, and you can watch whatever team, whoever, blah blah, yeah, whatever you want. And I forget, now, like I said, that's on YouTube TV, and that price is like $600, something ridiculous. And you throw in all the streaming services for, they're like $10 to $20 a month. I mean, sure, you can cancel all this. Well, you can't really cancel Sunday Ticket because you pay for the year for that. And then there's also NFL Plus now. But I mean, it's ridiculous for the consumer to enjoy the NFL. And luckily for the NFL, it airs every week for the next 4 or 5 months. And sure, you might not get the game that you want, but at least if you want to enjoy and so forth, there's 4 to 5 games on every Sunday. Okay? But compared to some of the other sports, like the other major sports, base, MLB, NBA, NHL, it's not as easy. So I mean, that's a win for the NFL, I guess. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of all these new distribution of the streaming services. It doesn't bother me like some people, but I'm just not a fan of it. And I'm just lucky that I can watch my team no matter what, thankfully. Let's see what else. Oh, we still got flexible games. Week 18, all the games are, we know about that. So, and then the NFL concludes Super Bowl 49, 59. Now I guess that makes sense. Super Bowl 59 is scheduled for Sunday, February 9th at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Oh man, I don't even want to think that far ahead. But looking forward, like I keep saying, I'm trying to think of other things that are on my mind real quick before I dive into my predictions and more or less wrap this up. But no, let's just get to it. My predictions on who's going to win it all. So every year, last few years, I would print off. Let's see. You can see here. I print off the NFL schedule for every team in that grid, and I go through week by week, team by team, who's going to win, what game, so on and so forth, and that gives me, the best record, the playoff teams, so on and so forth, and I got to throw in some tiebreaker procedure somewhat, and it's a little headache, but we all know, injuries happen, and other stuff. So, how accurate my prediction would be, I say plus or minus 4 maybe. Because I mean, look at the Vikings last year. When Kirk Cousins went down, they're riding high. They were going to be a playoff team more or less. Kirk Cousins gets hurt, they plummet. Trying to think, somebody else, another team, but I think I digress anyways. But so let's just get to it. Here who I have. These are teams that are going to make the playoffs in the AFC from best record to worst to the 7th seed. So I have Kansas City being the number 1 team in the AFC. No surprise there, right? Followed by Baltimore, Houston is your South winners. Baltimore's winning the North. Kansas City winning the West, and winning the East. I got Buffalo again. I know Buffalo has had a few turnovers, but they got rid of Stephon Diggs, but that's not gonna be a big deal. And then your 3 wildcard teams, I got Cincinnati. They find a way to bounce back. Miami, and surprisingly, Las Vegas. I think I don't know what it is. Even though they don't have a quarterback, a shocker. Put it that way. On the NFC side, I got San Francisco, which I don't know. It just depends on if Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, to be honest. But I got San Francisco winning the West, and the number 1 seed. Philadelphia, the number 2 seed, winning the East. Green Bay, baby, 3 seed, winning the North, and Atlanta winning the South because the South sucks. But they found their quarterback. They have a running back, and that's if Kirk Cousins stays healthy, I guess. The 4th seed. The 3 wildcard teams are Dallas, LA Rams, and Detroit. I feel like Detroit, they're still good. They'll fall back a little bit this year, but it's Green Bay, baby. Green Bay. So, in the AFC Championship game, I got a rematch of Week 1. I'm pretty sure a rematch of last year. I got Baltimore versus Kansas City, and you know what? Baltimore gets over that hump. They find a way. They get it done. Baltimore, they're back. Lamar Jackson, all the critics, oh man, he can do it. Maybe. But they get back to the Super Bowl. NFC side, you know what? I'm just going to be a homer. It's Green Bay's year. They got a new defensive coordinator. They got their kicker of the future. They paid their quarterback because they struck gold 3 times in a row. And I got them beating San Francisco. They take care of business. They learn from their mistakes. And we got Baltimore versus Green Bay in the Super Bowl. And you know what? Yes, I'm getting high. I'm high on that horse. And I'm picking. It's Green Bay's year, baby. You know, it happened 14 years ago, and it happened 28 years ago. So if there's anything about 14, you know what? You know who wore number 14 for Green Bay? Don Hudson. You know, and his number's retired. So yes, I'm saying it. Give me Green Bay over Baltimore in the Super Bowl. Yeah. And nah, forget that. Yeah, we'll just wrap it up there. That's who I like. I hope I'm not wrong, but I will not be surprised if I am. But there you go. Those are my thoughts, my opinions on the upcoming NFL season. I can only, whew, and we all know, we got daily fantasy, we got weekly fantasy. Let's just enjoy, sit back. Hopefully, wish the best of luck to your team. But if you're not a Packer fan, well, good luck next year. So, we'll see if we do a week by week thing, recap the NFL and whatever else on my mind. But hey, you can always follow me on X and other social media sites, I guess. But anyways, oh, it's gonna be fun. So thanks for watching. Until next time, adios, muchachos.